I made it through 2 years of law school. I made it through 2 of the 3 years. The hardest parts the first year, done. Second year, I hung in there. But then, couldn't do it. After 2, I said, I'm out of here. And it was a crazy moment to have a plan from 11 years old and just kind of every choice, every summer, classes, extra activities, SATs, essays, leading to that one big goal, and then being that close to it and realizing, I made a huge mistake. I have to admit it, cut my losses, I'm out of here. And it was a total crisis of relevance, because I was now an adult. Yes, okay, it's cool to be quirky, maybe, on the side, do some puzzles, make puzzles, whatever. You learn how to ride a unicycle. That's cool when it's like on the side, right? And you have a plan. What happens when you remove the plan? What you're left with is a guy who likes to do anagrams and doesn't have a job. Sweet, that's a catch.
When people talk about game addiction, they always ask why games are addictive, rather than what void do they fill. And right there's where the conversation goes wrong. When you routinely choose games over things you know to be important, or you cease participating in areas of life that you used to find important to play games, you suffer from game addiction or game compulsion. I tread that road. My closest friend sprinted down it. But nobody heads that way because their life is perfect. No one picks up a game and becomes an addict. Well, I guess that's the heart of the issue. Games aren't addictive, but they offer something that is. They offer us validation. Often people talk about game addicts as lazy or indolent or incapable or stupid, but nothing could be further from the truth. Rather, everyone I've ever run into who has had to wrestle with this particular demon at some point in their life was a child full of promise, and therein sort of lies the trap. I've watched smart, capable people submerge their lives behind the safe unreality of games when the real world tells them that all the things they considered good about themselves aren't worthwhile. When with all their intellect, their ability to reason, their willingness to doggedly pursue a goal, they still get dumped or lose their job or get served notice for divorce. At that point, they turn to games because games agree with them that those traits are important, that they reward them. Games reward people for exactly those skills. And unfortunately here, at least in the US, high school and college is a time where the world shows us just how little it can care about some of those things that we're most proud of, some of the things that we find best about ourselves.
So, when you talk about self-paced learning, it makes sense for everyone. In education speak, differentiated learning. But it's kind of crazy what happens when you actually see it in a classroom. Because every time we've done this, in every classroom we've done, over and over again, if you go 5 days into it, there's a group of kids who've raced ahead, and there's a group of kids who are a little bit slower. And in a traditional model, if you did a snapshot assessment, you say, oh, these are the gifted kids, these are the slow kids. Maybe they should be tracked differently. Maybe we should put them in different classes. But when you let every student work at their own pace, and we see it over and over and over again, you see students who took a little bit extra time on one concept or the other, but once they get through that concept, they just race ahead. And so the same kids that you thought were slow 6 weeks ago, you now would think are gifted. And we're seeing it over and over and over again. And it makes you really wonder kind of how much all of the labels, maybe a lot of us have benefited from, were really just due to a coincidence of time.